I think it's shaping up pretty fun. Let me know what you guys think about the game so far. Let me know what you think about the bracket, who you're cheering for. The Twitter should be up there somewhere, Rotterdam08. Of course, you can also tweet at the ESL account and the StarCraft account that are tweeting about these qualifiers. HateMe against Bly. HateMe is, of course, an Austrian Zerg player. He was at the last Home Story Cup. I actually think he took 2 games off TY. At least I think he took 1. And I think he was supposed to take the second one, but then he lost it. But perhaps he even took 2. So HateMe is a good player. Now I do have to mention this because this was my one moment of glory in the last year. I had to go up against HateMe in the WCS Team League. And you guys know where this is going. Yeah, I'm going there. I was able to upset HateMe in the WCS Team League against all odds. A game that I should have probably never won. But every now and then, guys, with a good build, it can take you far. But HateMe is a far superior player than me. He's way better. And I'm curious to see how he will do against Bly. Bly is, of course, as old school as they come. He's been around since Warcraft 3, and even in 2010, 2011, Bly was already grinding it up, always in the online cups. Eventually, at first, you know, Bly was always overshadowed by the other Ukrainians that were dominating in the early days of Wings of Liberty. Think about Dimaga, you think about White Rod, think about Cass. And there were a few others as well. I think Freyr, the Protoss that came a little bit later, like 2011, 2012, was very good. And I feel like I'm forgetting one other strong. Strelok. Strelok was also one of the big Ukrainian players. But at a certain point, all those other Ukrainians started going down a little bit. And that's truly when the rise of Bly started. And needless to say, Leipzig last year, 2016, was Bly's biggest achievement. Made it to the grand finals of that first region-locked WCS event. He fell short in the finals against Drogo, but that was still an amazing run. Since then, it's been ups and downs for Bly. Bly has, you know, he's not the most consistent player in the world. And some people like to blame that on the fact that Bly has always been an aggressive player, and some even say cheesy and he's one-dimensional. But I don't think that's totally true, because there were times where Bly did show us that he was always willing to transition to that next phase. And even remember a couple of great games from a Dreamhack where he went up against Korean Protosses, I think against Parting as well, where he really showed us all. He showed us Brute Lords, he showed us Muda transitions, and late game he can hold his own as well. So he's no longer the guy that can only cheese, but it seems that when times get tough for him, he falls back to his old tricks, and that's obviously something that, you know, makes sense, that we're all familiar with. If you feel like things are not going as well as you want them to go, you go back doing what you think you do best, and that's being aggressive early on. But there's only so long that you can get away with it until all these other Europeans pick up on that fact. It's like, hey, well, I'm going up against Bly, let's play safe, let's not take a risk. You know, while against certain Zergs as a Protoss, you may skip the Mothership Core. Against Bly, it's like, alright, Cyber Core is done, Mothership Core, first units I built. Unfortunately, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. We're still in the lobby, so just waiting. Some of the other casters are asking for some different games, but I'm okay with this game. I really don't mind this ZvZ. I think it's fine. HateMe is making a sad face. He wants to get it going. No idea. I mean, looking at the track records, you would say normally that Bly is the favorite here, but I think if you'd ask some of the die-hard European ladder players, then some people would say like, no, I actually believe that HateMe can do this. I think that HateMe might be on the level of Bly or is perhaps even better. And Bly would obviously never agree with that. Bly would be like, that's ridiculous, you know. I'm Bly. I have achieved way more. Apparently, HateMe has been waiting for a very long time already, he said. He's like, I've been waiting for close to 50 minutes. Which, if that is actually the case, that would be troublesome. And I do not think that's okay. Nobody should have to wait 50 minutes for their opponent. And it's very strange because they're actually in the lobby. Like, Bly is in the lobby. It's not like he's MIA, because he apparently accepted a lobby invite. Maybe... waiting for a game. I apologize for this, guys. I thought we were good to go, and the admin apparently thought we were good to go as well. Oh, Bly's here. Well, never mind. Let's go. Problem solved. It's that gamer sense. Bly's like, nerds out there somewhere are waiting for my return. Let's bring it on. Bly against HateMe. Ukraine against... Bly said I wasn't close to the PC. But then he knew that we needed him. Both players are ready. I'm going to start the game immediately. Fun best of 3. Winner of this series will advance to the round of 16. And then obviously you get awfully close. Then it's just 2 more series. But in the round of 16, Optimus is waiting. And Optimus is still not truly a household name. There's always a lot of StarCraft fans out there that, you know, they watch the big tournaments, but, you know, they're busy with university and they're busy with work or family, whatever they do. And they may be like, Optimus, like, yeah, he's pretty good, but he's not that big of a deal, right? No, Optimus he's up there. I think Optimus is probably the best, not acknowledged, truly established player yet there is in Europe. And hopefully he can make a name for himself in Challenger. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, or maybe actually in main Challenger, in the main bracket. That will obviously be played on Friday and Saturday. I love it, guys. This is a really good chance for all these European players to truly show what they're made of. And to show that they deserve to be shining on the biggest stage. Over here on the left top side, we're looking at the main base of a man that has been on the biggest stage already. It's Bly. And the most recent Nation Wars, Bly actually had a good performance. Once again, he was strong in Nation Wars 2016, and he was just as strong in Nation Wars 2017. Had a great record, took multiple games of players like Neep. I believe he took a map of Scarlet as well, if I recall that correctly. Overall, Bly was just really good. Unfortunately, the rest of Ukraine was not up to task. They were not able to get the job done. Bly lay down the groundwork, but they were not able to close the deal. Over here on the right bottom side, looking in the main base of a player that's not super well known yet, but all the European pros know him. Made it to a home story cup, and this could also be a guy that could potentially go far in this year. It's HateMe. A long time ago, we had another very strong Austrian player, arguably the most handsome man to ever play this game. And before somebody interrupts me, even though there's no one here, if there was someone here and said, "That's Zest," then you don't know the true story of Munchie. Munchie is someone that was so cool. In no universe should he have been as good in StarCraft as he was. Munchie was not only incredibly handsome, he was also driving motorcycles around, broke his arm at a motocross event, still showed up at the next StarCraft event. In my eyes, Munchie is a true legend of the StarCraft scene. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. I don't mean that in a sad way that he passed along. Fortunately not. He's still out there somewhere. Probably driving like, how's that thing called? The Dakar 500 or something? The Paris Dakar, that one. He's probably doing that like every summer. Hopefully he's still watching some StarCraft events every now and then. Because if you are once a StarCraft player, you'll always be a StarCraft player to some degree. But it's very awesome to see that there is another strong Austrian player now in the form of HateMe. And let's see how he does against Bly, as Bly traditionally has a couple of things in his opponent's mineral line. Gonna try to get something done here, but that's going to be very hard. HateMe is good and should not lose any drones to something as silly as a Treeling. Well, one drone actually gets picked off, gets cornered there. Well done, good Ling movement. I don't think a tiny bit sloppy, a little bit of a late reaction there by HateMe. Now one drone it's not the end. In the end, 4 links went down. Yes, all 4 links went down. So if you take a look at the units lost, 4 links for a drone. I think that's a reasonable trade. You don't have to be too upset about that. You could still say, like, he could have saved the drone. That was unnecessary. To some degree it was, but one drone is something we can live with. As HateMe is going to get a little bit of scout as well. You also saw that link speed finished up for Bly. Obviously overlords are spread very decently across the map, so HateMe is aware of these links running across the map. A couple of defensive banes have been morphed already. Bly once again just going for the mineral line. Gets another drone, but has to be careful here. Good. Lost mining time at least, and I think 2 more drones total there. So 3 drones have gone down, but 14 links though. I don't know. Bly is one of these players. Like, in the old days, we had a couple of Korean Zergs out there that were incredibly good in this as well. And Bly is also one of these guys that makes a lot of units in phases of the game where you're like, I don't recommend you to make units right now. You know, these units, they did not get done what they were supposed to do. And then at one point you look at the worker cap and it's like, okay, Bly is actually ahead by 5 workers. And you're like, how on earth did that happen? This is a lot of links though that get the wraparound on this hatchery, and Bly's units are a little bit out of position. One Roach did pop then, it's morphed into a Ravager, but these queens are quite exposed. Don't think there's enough energy for transfuse. One queen will go down. But in the end, that was quite a few links for HateMe as well. 10 links for a queen and a couple of links. So still very even. HateMe is ahead by a couple of workers. He's going to get his first Evo, as Bly also has his first Evo on the way. Bly once again is going to try to run via the left side of the map. But excellent overlord positioning by HateMe. He knows about this attack. He will see it coming. At the same time, HateMe is going to try to do the same thing on the right top side of the map. Well, let's take a look at these links of Bly. Gets a queen. That's decent. What did HateMe get? Probably not all that much. A few more links. That's about it. So, dead even. After 5.5 minutes, I'd say Bly is ahead by 3 drones, but there's plenty of drones in the production tab. Plus one is kind of identical on both sides, and the layer timings are pretty damn even as well. Slightly faster for HateMe, but it's safe to say that this is a ZvZ that's as even as they get. And from this point on, I think attacking becomes incredibly difficult. But this is also, it's really a numbers game. You have to really keep a close eye on what's happening on the other side of the map. You want to make sure that your opponent is doing something that's at least similar to you. And if he starts making units a little bit sooner than you, make sure that you react in time. What you can do is heavily overdrone. That's a fast infestation pit. It's almost immediate. I'm a little bit surprised by that. He didn't even have that many extractors. He's taking them all now. Bly instead is going to go for the Spire. And Bly has definitely been a Muda player in the past. This could be something that HateMe is familiar with as well. He saw one extractor being taken over here at this third base. Did not spot the Spire, but I guess he's just feeling it. Spider senses perhaps. And once again, these are also guys that run into each other on ladder very often. And even though you can say ladder and tournaments are very different, just because a player plays Spire on ladder very often, that doesn't necessarily mean he will do it in tournaments. That's absolutely true. But if you play against a guy 10 times and he does Muda builds 8 or 9 times in these scenarios, it's pretty safe to assume that he's actually going to do it when it matters as well, because that's what he has most practice with. Burrow being researched, so I'm expecting Tunneling Claws to perhaps be researched as well. These Ravagers look badass, by the way. All the skins. Today, all the skins have been brought out. Getting confused. These Overlord, actually, these production tabs, they look so different. This is one Overseer. Spots the infestation pit, so Bly knows. You have to be careful. I said Tunneling Claws, but it could also just be for the Infestors, of course. Infestors these days, in case you've been away of StarCraft 2 for a while, they can cast Fungal Growth while being burrowed, and that's amazing. It's massive against air units, it's big against Phoenixes, it's really big against Mudas as well. And it makes it a lot harder to be too crazy. In the past, you can kind of see the Infestors come, and then you can juke the Fungals. But the moment that Infestors could be borrowed anywhere. Ooh, 6 drones went down. 2 Banelings perhaps wiggled their way in these mineral lines. So that's nice. Nice little pickoff. But the reason why I'm not going too crazy over it now, while sometimes in the early phase I can go crazy over 4 drones, is that losing 6 drones over 65 drone economy, like obviously it's not nice, but at that point you're only losing 10%. But if you lose 4 drones over 20 drone economy, at that point you're losing a little more. You know, instead of losing 10, suddenly you're losing 20% of your income. These Mudas have showed up in the main, and the Spore wasn't done yet, so these drones will burrow, but they're a little too late for the party. The Infestors are not out yet either. Fungal, excuse me, Pathogen Glands has not been researched. That's something that has been, you know, the meta or has been agreed upon as the correct choice for a long time. As HateMe seems like he just wants to run across the map. He took a lot of damage in the main. Instead, he wants to kill the fort. I mean, he's absolutely going to get this fort. Can he get more than just the fort base? He's just going to ignore these Mudas. It's 1-1 on both sides. This is going to be very tough, I think, for HateMe. Running through that choke point, even though he has a couple of Ravagers, gets an Overlord. I don't think this is good enough for HateMe. Just getting the fort is nice, but being this far behind. And Bly is actually the one moving out now. He does get close on top of these Ravagers, as the Ravagers were kind of poorly positioned here in the front. A couple of Roaches coming from the left side as well. And I think that all of these units from HateMe are going to get swallowed up. Not before, of course, Bly will lose a lot of his Roaches as well. But there is no return for these Roaches and Ravagers of what they are I won't say Australian, but Austrian Zerg player. And Bly immediately will take a sport base again. Yeah, well done. I mean, these Mulas absolutely did what they were supposed to do. There's only 3 remaining, but they picked off more than a handful of drones. Created a worker lead and also allowed Bly to still win that fight on the top side of the map. There's a burrowed roach here. Bly also has burrow.
Forces have opened fire.
Take a look at each other. Burrowed units should be able to see each other on the ground. And that doesn't make any sense though, right? Like, you know, if we're both on the water, we should definitely see each other there. So why wouldn't we see each other on the ground? Especially if we headbutt. It's like, hey, I can crawl here. There has to be something, but I don't know what it is. It's so dark. Must be a roach. This Bly is going to split these roaches. The Spore Crawler will detect these roaches, forcing one of these Overseers to morph into or Overlord into an Overseer as well. But this is going to get really gnarly for HateMe. HateMe is just too far out of position. That fight in the right top side did not go as good as it was supposed to. He's going to end up losing more drones, even though good use of Burrow there defensively by HateMe as well. But I think that Bly is already satisfied with his attack. He disrupted the mining once again, killed the fort, still has a couple of units left in the main. He's going to split these roaches up as well. Ooh, big fungo over here though on the left side. That's nice. All of these burrowed roaches were caught. And that's absolutely what HateMe needed. And I didn't like HateMe's position that much before, but getting 7, 8, 9 roaches here for free, that's obviously going to even things up a little bit. Both players have +2 missile attacks, so it's dead even when it comes to upgrades. That's nice. It's something that HateMe absolutely needed. I still don't want to say that HateMe is ahead because he doesn't have a fort. But he's ahead in upgrades. Roach speed is very late actually. Wow, surprised that he made that massive attack before he had roach speed. I guess that's why he didn't bother running back, even when he saw he was going to lose that fight. There is no running if your opponent's roaches are a lot faster than yours. No wonder if that was a mistake or if that was just part of the build. I don't want to say that was necessarily a mistake, because every now and then players generally feel they can use those resources elsewhere, and 1 or 2 units can make the difference in their attack. These roaches once again are going to unburrow over here in the natural, pick up that Spore Crawler, get a few drones, 1 or 2 did get picked off. Bly has a few more roaches in this third base as well. I love the burrowed roach play. You do have to be careful, and I'm not saying this because I don't think it's been successful so far, because it absolutely has been successful, other than the roaches that got caught by that fungo. But at one point you have to be careful that you don't get too carried away by harassing, that you keep trading out roaches, and at one point you start making bad trades, and before you know it, your opponent is very comfortably maxed out on like 44 drones, so that means you're looking at 156 army supply, and suddenly you're still sitting at your 66 drones on the top side of the map, and you don't have enough. And if you're not even maxed out, then things get bad. However, attacking in ZvZ is incredibly difficult, especially with infestors on the map. Like without infestors, you can definitely swing around and you can try to force a good engagement here and there. A couple of roaches didn't get the memo that this was an undercover mission. God, what a terrible secret agent. It's like, guys, we're coming. It's like, where are my friends? My friends are always behind. What are you doing? Bly's morphing. Oh, that's a big fungo, but the Ravages are not there yet. That's a massive fungo for HateMe as well, though. I mean, this is a mad fight right now. A lot of these units are not fighting because they're out of range and have been fungoed. I still like it for HateMe, though. He's massively ahead in supply. Those Ravages were not done. Did Bly just throw the game? As these Ravages are going to fall as well. Bly lost everything. He was morphing 7, 8 Ravages on the north side of that battle. They were not there. And his fungo was good, but the fungos of HateMe were even better. He got the juicy fungos on top of all the infestors and was able to finish them off with the corrosive bowels. Wow. HateMe, despite losing his fort, despite not totally being ready for those mutas in the main, and not winning the fight on the right top side of the map, has just created a massive advantage for himself. Incredibly well done. Clutch moment there. Clutch decision making, didn't second guess himself for 1 second. And can he seal the deal? His army is quite a bit bigger. It's getting very close towards his hatch. And the hatch is running quite low. 16 drones have gone down during this already. And Bly just doesn't have that many units anymore. HateMe sees it as well, and he's like, alright, let's jump on this. Because I think this is it. I think this is all she wrote for you, Bly. Because those roaches and Ravages will go down. Wow, excellent fight there in the middle of the map by HateMe. In a game where I thought it was going to be very hard to attack, HateMe got the job done. And he secures himself a 1-0 lead. That was big. It started off with that fungal of Bly, and you're like, okay, that's a big fungal, but then HateMe, his infestors were in range to fungal back, and they didn't just fungal the roaches, they fungaled the 1 or 2 ravages that were actually ready, because the 7 or 8 ravages, I mean, looking back at it, you can say that Bly shouldn't have fungaled there, because do you really want to fungal if your ravages are not there yet? I mean, obviously the combo is the real jackpot here. Just fungals are good, but this is not Wings of Liberty anymore, or Harder to Swarm, where you can just rely on a couple of good fungals and it's all about roaches and upgrades and numbers. No, it's all about the combo of Corrosive Bowl and fungal, and his ravages were just not done yet. HateMe landed the fungal, and not just fungal roaches, he got infestors as well and finished those off immediately. And at that point it just became an incredibly one-sided battle. Pretty action-packed game though. It was a fun game. Game number 1 on Belcher. Gonna just take a look before game 2 is up. Once again, the winner of this series will move on to the round of 16, where Optimus is waiting. Very strong Dutch Terran. Saro has defeated Minato. Just a small update for you guys. Zenster is in the round of 16 as well. Hino defeated Sordov. And some people might be like, wow, that's a massive upset. But unless I am mistaken, and someone can correct me if I am, I think Sordov is playing these games from Korea. And once again, playing Korea to Europe is very, very, very difficult. Sorry, I missed invite. I missed my invite because I was talking about the bracket. I'm obsessed with the bracket, guys. Just want to give you guys an update. I feel like I'm a news reporter. This brings me back of Katowice, where we have like 7 games happening at once and we can just talk about them all the time, which is a lot of fun. Can let the players know that I'm ready. Second map is going to be played on Abyssal Reef. I truly feel that Abyssal is becoming the new Frost, the new King Sejong, where it's just like Abyssal is the map that almost everybody loves. It's just a very fun map. It is a very unique map, not only because of the tile set, but I think TLO tweeted about this a while ago, and I couldn't agree more with the tweet, is that there is not a set in stone expand pattern on this map. Obviously, the natural is the natural, but where you take your third base, there's already multiple choices there. Some people prefer to take it on the low ground aggressively. You can take the more obvious third, that's either above or below your natural, it depends where you spawn. And then the fourth, I mean, if you take that third, then maybe you can do it like the in-between, but there's multiple choices for the fourth, there's multiple choices for the fifth base even. I think that's super cool. That makes the games all very unique and different. And I think that's what makes Abyssal such a good map, and I think that's why a lot of the pro gamers truly love it as well. A lot of variation, and obviously TLO loves it because there's a lot of room for creativity. Like, I know what Dario is all about. It seems like they're confirm. Go. Alright, they're both ready. They often say that they're ready, but then like if the admin doesn't give me the power immediately to start a game, and it takes like 10 seconds, I don't want to start a game, because pro gamers are very impatient, and if they say ready, but it takes 10 more seconds, that's when they are back on Team Liquid already, or checking Reddit, or checking their Twitters, and then suddenly you start a game, and then the first thing you see is like ... was all tapped, and you're like, I look so bad when I was like, I'm sorry, you truly told me that you were ready, man. Game 2 is live. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Abyssal is the map. Over here on the right bottom side, we're looking at the main base of our Ukrainian Zerg, who's going back to what he knows best. It's early game aggression, and it's Bly. Introduce the players. Over here on the left top side, looking at the main base of the man that's up 1-0. He is from Austria. It's HateMe. That's an awesome. I love that decal or portrait. That's so cool. A little bit of inspiration perhaps for HateMe. It's like, I want to hug that trophy just the way that Björn did. That is, it's a cool picture. Lots of happiness. The pool is done. Let's see what Bly decides to do. Probably more of what we saw from Memory Freak or Friend, and the Tomicas as well, where it's just going to be lots of Speedlings and then a couple of Banelings, and it will all come down to how much damage these Banes can do. Unless Bly decides to stop mining gas, but that would be unlike Why, he's not doing that, because speed is already on the way. So we're absolutely going to see a couple of banelings. Now, obviously, HateMe knows that he's going up against Bly. He knows that this will always be a possibility. When you go up against somebody like Bly, always have to worry about the early game aggression. Went for the hatch first, but didn't delay his spawning pool by that much. First 6 links already out. They were making their way across the map. 6 more were on the way. They're avoiding the overlords for now, but I highly doubt that the moment that this pool is done that HateMe is gonna make drones. I'm expecting links here. He's kind of waiting. You guys can see that he's waiting. He's obviously not having bad macro right now, guys. He's a good player. He's doing this on purpose. He doesn't want to make links if he doesn't need them, but he also doesn't want to make drones in case it's an early pool. So he waited, patiently waited, and now he saw the news. He's like, all right, there is no hatchery. That's right, I am playing indeed against Bly. That's a lot of banelings. Bly is not going to waste time with speed links. He's like, nope. If I do it right immediately, and I'm going to come here with Banes, and that's going to make it quite difficult for this Queen to survive here. First Baneling connection is pretty good. That Queen is in a lot of trouble, and this is starting off very, very promising for Bly. As HateMe right now doesn't have much at all. That Queen is going to get picked off too. And for all the good that HateMe did in game number 1, he's in a lot of trouble here in game number 2. Bly is doubling the army supply. That's a little more dramatic than it sounds. It's 5 against 10 or 7 against 14. But there is just not much here for HateMe. Losing both queens is disastrous. That fast. That's a massive baneling hit. And I think that's all Ro. There's only 3 drones remaining. 2 drones right now. Just like that, it's all over. And Bly evens up the series. Like we said it before the games even started. If things don't go well for Bly, he tends to go back to what he knows best. And that's the early game aggression. And I feel that HateMe had a decent read on the situation. He was saving his larva. He didn't blindly make drones. He didn't go for the most greedy opening ever. He's like, no, wait. And saw no hatch. He's like, all right, I need links right now. Queen being a tiny bit out of position. And Bly just has so much experience in these early game shenanigans that he only needs to see, you know, one small window of opportunity. He'll capitalize on it immediately. And that's what we saw over there. That's always a little heartbreaking, I feel like. If you're playing a competitive best of 3, and if you're HateMe right now, and game number 1 is like so close, back and forth, there's multiple phases. There's the Link Bane phase, and you come out of it all right. There is the Muda defense phase, which he took some damage, but kind of turned it around. There's the Roach phase, and there's like sort of the later phase with Infessive and stuff as well. You work that hard to get a win on the board, and then within 2 minutes, you're all even. It's, you need a strong mentality to just forget about that. I'm gonna let them know that I'm ready for it. Little Cannon and Mana. Okay, that's they're gonna play without us. So I'm just gonna start the game as both players said that they are ready. Game 3 between the Austrian Zerg and the Ukrainian Zerg. It's going to be played on Newkirk City. I'm gonna get this party going real quick. Once again, the winner of this series will go up against Optimus. That's a series that I wouldn't mind casting at all. I don't know how the admin feels about it or anybody else, but I think that would be fun. Especially because even though I praise Optimus a lot, and I genuinely believe that he's one of the most underrated and best Terrans in Europe. Of course, I'm not saying he's like better than Utermo, but he's getting close. He's up there. He's really been putting in the work. However, still doesn't have that many results to back it up yet. But let's focus on this first. Who is it going to be that will go up against Optimus in the round of 16? Over here on the left bottom side, looking at the main base of our Ukrainian Zerg, it's Bly. And over here on the right bottom side of Newkirk, looking in the main base of the Austrian Zerg player. Kind of a sad, heartbreaking loss there in game number 2. It's HateMe. Now HateMe has been competing for a while, so hopefully he will be able to recollect himself and just forget about that. Acknowledge where that went wrong and just be like, alright, I messed up there. And there was a very unfortunate phase in the game to mess up, as my opponent was all-inning me, or at least putting some serious early game pressure. And do better next time. Fortunately for HateMe, he doesn't have to worry about anything like that, as Bly is actually expanding this time. It's just hedge first. I believe that his pool is even a little bit later than the... Well, barely. Half a second. Not really worth mentioning. So, mirror images so far on each side. Once again, if you make it through the bracket today, you secure yourself at least $400 and you'll be joining the 8 players that already qualified through a ladder, which is very cool. It's something that Blizzard used to do for some of the Warcraft 3 tournaments as well back in the days. The ladder competitions. I know that the pro gamers out there truly enjoy it. It's hard to cover it, which is kind of sad. It would be awesome if you can just jump into anybody's ladder game. At the same time, that would make practicing for tournaments very bad, because then everybody knows what everybody is doing. But I know that the pro players, they always tweet about it, how much they enjoy that ladder race. And this time, the 8 players that made it out were Showtime, Harstem, Uthermal, and 5 Zergs. Elaser, Snoot, Nurcho, Namchar, and I think I'm forgetting one. Tielo, Dr. Dario. So all those guys, you'll see them in action on Friday and Saturday. I can't wait. It's kind of like an unofficial European championship, because truly everybody has the chance to participate. Truly everybody has the chance to compete. There is serious money on the line as well. Overall, it's $10,000 for Challenger. Just making it into that top 16 bracket, like I said, gets you 400. If you win the entire thing, I believe it's 1,600. And of course, the most important thing about Challenger is that the first 4 players will get their expenses paid to actually attend WCS Austin. That's happening towards the end of April, early May. 14 links on the production tab now for Bly, as we a little bit of a skirmish there. One Overlord actually got picked off already. Bly was able to pick off an Overlord of HateMe, and that's kind of that's an uncomfortable scenario to be in if you're HateMe. And Bly's probably the last person you want to lose an Overlord to, because you need to know what's happening on the other side of the map. And immediately, I love this actually, Bly picking off that Overlord, he knows that he's scaring HateMe, so HateMe is also aware of the fact that there could be a chance, okay, he killed my Overlord, he's gonna make a whole bunch of links. He makes a whole bunch of defensive banes, but these defensive bane links won't be all that useful unless he runs them across the map. Right now, the absolute best thing that HateMe can do is just run across the map. You already invested in all these banes, and on the other side of the map, we know, and I think by now, HateMe knows as well, that there is going to be a Roach War, and even though he hasn't scouted it yet, he can expect it. HateMe kind of needs to cancel this hatch, or at least do a lot of damage, and maybe pick off a couple of the roaches that pop. The banelings are a little slow to the party. This is a big moment in this best of 3. If he can get this hatchery here, but with the banes, he should be able to get it. Perhaps he's going to detonate the banes. Well, there's a lot of queens there. I'm not sure if he can get it. There's transfuse energy. He won't get it. Sick hold there by Bly. It's very low in HP, obviously, but I wonder what would have happened if HateMe would have just gone for it with the banes. I think there is a chance he would have got it, because one baneling actually detonated outside of hatchery range as well. And the queens were not inside of transfuse range. A tiny bit sad there. Perhaps a small missed opportunity. Roach Warren is down on the other side of the map for HateMe as well, but Bly created an economic advantage for himself, because HateMe was forced to produce A, a lot of Zerglings, and B, also morphed 6 banelings at first, which I think were just banelings because he was scared, and he was like, alright, I don't see enough on the other side of the map. I'm going up against a man who loves to put early game aggression on me. And this is also what I love of Bly. He's adapting to his own image. He knows that, oh, that people get afraid, especially if they lose vision on the other side of the map when they play against him. So instead, he does the opposite. As Artosis once said, the scariest thing a cheesy player can do is play a macro game. And obviously Bly has played plenty, but Bly knows that he will always have that reputation going for himself. Especially after that last game, where he did go for the 12 pool. This is gonna be fun. It's like dodgeball. It's like, this was me in high school, guys. I wasn't very fast. It's like, I'm trying. Damn it, I lost again. It's so sad. I love dodgeball, but I always get hit. And that's when I stopped eating Mars. Every day. This is Overlord. It's picked up as well. This is very nice. This 4 Ravager hit squad. It's doing some work. I was about to say, does he not see that? He does see it, but he just can't shoot at it. But with the queen there as well. This is very serious pickups here. That's 3 Overlords. And went down incredibly quickly. Sply is going to run a couple of links into the natural of HateMe. HateMe is actually gearing up for an attack, which is interesting because he just lost a whole bunch of Overlords. So he must have been kind of supply blocked, but he just made more. Seems like he's just going to go for it. There are no upgrades on either side. One is going for Carapace, the other one is going for attack. Bly already has a layer. I'm not sure if there is actually a layer on the side of HateMe or not. I don't think there is. Nope, there isn't. So this is an attack that's actually meant to do a lot of damage. The hatchery solo on HP, and he does get it with just 1 volley. But at what cost? Tasteless if he was here. Because a lot of these roaches will go down. And even though Bly ended up losing that hatch, what's going to stop Bly from just running to the other side of the map? Look at that Ravager. That's a cute Ravager. It's very spiky. Very clunky feet as well. Okay, HateMe is buying some more time with Lynx, trying to cut off some reinforcements, which I think is the right play. Maybe try to get another cancel on that hatch as well. Fortunately, he won't get it, but he knows that he needs to buy some time, because even though it was a great pickup for HateMe, he's still down in workers, and he lost a whole bunch of units as well, and he's down in tech. I truly think that not getting the hatch early game was catastrophic, and perhaps played a detrimental part in his potential defeat for the Austrian Zerg, but he's still trying. He does get links into the main, and because of these links, he should see the Spire as well. So now he... Oh, that's a lot of Zerglings, and this is actually going to force... Man, Bly SimCity is great. It's going to force Bly to turn around, I want to say. Lynx would maybe get the wraparound on the Spire. That's probably what I would go for. No, he's going to go for it as well. Will he be able to force a cancel? He kind of needs to, because he doesn't even have a layer himself yet. It's not even a cancel, he gets the kill, and Spires are not cheap at all. So that's nice. But at the same time, it wasn't for free. That was a crazy amount of links. 79 links have gone down in this game. Obviously, quite a few died before, but I bet that was at least 25 to 30 links. Oh, he's anticipating the overseer movement! But overseers are a lot better in dodgeball than overlords are. That would have been a sick pickup, though. A headshot. A railgun. Quake players would be great with overlords. And Ravagers, of course. I mean, Bly just has a bigger army. You gotta be careful. A couple of links are gonna get the wraparound. That's nice. Could maybe get a couple of great corrosive balls on the side for HateMe, but Bly has more units though. So even though this is a cool engagement for HateMe, it's still questionable in the end. Because Bly's army is just bigger, and no matter how cool your engagement is, well, those are some nice balls. Bly has to be a little bit careful. If he eats these balls all the way towards HateMe's side of the map, then I am not sure if he can just close out the game. But he avoided the last few. That's kind of all he needed to do. His army is just way bigger. And he gets himself in a great position to get this hatchery. Gets a couple of the drones as well. A lot of links. This is it. Now or never for HateMe, but the numbers are just not in his favor. Even though a lot of these roaches from Bly are very low on HP. Good comeback by Bly in this series. And it seems like Optimus can gear himself up for a best of 3. Oh, the Overlord jackpot. Ding, 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 ding. There should be fun animations like that in StarCraft, guys. Like whenever you kill 3 Overlords at once, there should be like a bunch of 7s across the screen. Ding, ding, ding. If I was lead game designer, I guess this is why I don't have a job. Feels bad. It's +2 missile attacks. It's about to finish up for Bly. HateMe doesn't want to give up. He knows the tournament life is on the line. But I think we're going to see this young man again tomorrow, because even though these corrosive balls are good, once again, Bly just has way too many units over here. This is an unfair fight. Great movement on the Ravagers, but this is not the time that a couple of corrosive balls are going to save the day for you. I am sure that we are going to see HateMe again tomorrow, because he is absolutely an up-and-comer in the European scene. Great, exciting Austrian Zerg player. But today, it was old school Bly that will hang in there and move on to the round of 16 to go up once again against the Dutch Terran Optimus. Big series, wouldn't mind casting it at all, but I don't know what the admin has in store for me. I am not in charge here, guys. 6-7 years ago, when I was here by myself, I was always in charge. But I have lost my powers, lost my rank. It's all been downhill. Let's take a look at the